When I think about the resurrection narratives in the New Testament, for me, the one that just sticks, hits different, is Luke's account of the road to Emmaus. That's the one where Jesus shows up incognito and basically blows the minds of two disaffected followers walking in the crater of their disappointment, right? And I'll tell you what, I can't help but think of one of those urban legends with the vanishing hitchhiker. That's what it makes me think of. You probably know that story. You've probably heard Robert Stack on Unsolved Mysteries tell it to you. It's kind of the same formula every time. Travelers on the road pick up a hitchhiker. They're making their way on their journey and make with a chit-chat while they're at it. Until the new passenger takes the conversation straight to Bizarroville, right? Starts referencing cryptic mysteries, knowing things he shouldn't know, dropping truths and observations that just are eerie as can be. What eventually happens, in most of the legends anyway, is that conversation's cut short by their arrival at the destination. Whereupon everyone gets out to stretch their legs, and then the hitchhiker just vanishes. He's gone. Later, of course, they find out that the hitchhiker was actually dead long before they picked him up. The only solace that the travelers have is that they've evidently helped a ghost with some unfinished business from beyond the grave. That, I think, is what urban legends do, right? They speak to this innate fear we have that we might go out into the world one day and run into something we don't understand. We might encounter something that upends the way we thought things worked. We might actually peer into the furnace that makes creation hum, and there's no guarantee we'll know what to do when we get that glance. That's what urban legends do. That's what Luke's account does here too. But it's different because Luke is not basing this story on anonymous hearsay. He's basing it on first century eyewitness testimony. It's based on the testimony of a man named Cleopas from Emmaus, whoever that is. And Jesus's body, it had been missing already since that morning, right? Add to that, though, the fact you have these, I don't even have the right term for it, Jesus sightings begin tumbling through the suburbs of Jerusalem by that time anyway. So what that means is there's a big old difference between the way urban legends talk about Jesus, or those like him who just go off the grid and vanish, and Luke's account. In Luke's account, the vanishing hitchhiker, he's alive. And I don't mean just alive in their hearts. I think we all know that's just Hallmark stuff. Jesus was alive enough to break bread. He was alive enough to maybe even correct their theology along the way. You could make the case, I'd say, that if anyone was a ghost, it was the travelers on the road to Emmaus, right? They were the ones with unfinished business. They were the ones who had to get to Jerusalem to be with other people who had seen Jesus too, alive and outside of the grave. Now, I am of the persuasion, have been for some time, that Cleopas and whoever he's with, they don't get enough credit for their decision to turn right around and make the 7-mile journey back to Jerusalem. Back to the lion's den, right? That's where they're going to be looking for everyone who was associated with Jesus and all that. But in heading back to Jerusalem, they were turning their back on the way they thought their lives would go. They were doing something else too. To go back to Jerusalem was to take their place, however modest, into the new world that Jesus kickstarted when he rose from the dead that morning of the first day. And if we're lucky, right, maybe our hearts will burn too on the road. And maybe we can leave behind our disenchantment, our disbelief, our jadedness, prejudice. The business is to leave what is less than redeemed humanity behind, the parts of us that are already dead. Our business is nothing less than the tree of life, to which Jesus is calling us back, where he will exchange our forbidden fruit for broken bread and open our eyes as wide as our future. A future in which we inherit the world, but the world renewed. A world beyond our beyond. And behold, there was evening and there was morning. The new creation that began on the first day.